And you're now watching Action News at 11. Our breaking coverage continues tonight on that Learjet 55 that crashed in northeast Philadelphia a bit after 6 o'clock. We know tonight 6 individuals have lost their lives.
I'm Shari Williams alongside Gray Hall. Thank you for joining us and being here with us in this continuing breaking news coverage. We've been on the air now since about 7:15 this evening, here live on the air. The crash itself, though, was reported shortly after 6 o'clock. Let's bring you up to speed as to everything we have learned so far this evening. It was shortly after 6 o'clock when this Learjet 55, it crashed after departing from the northeast Philadelphia airport. We're told that there were 6 people on board this Learjet. The plane was en route to Springfield Branson National Airport in Missouri. This was a medical assignment tonight. This was a jet being used as an air ambulance. We now know that on board was a pediatric patient being taken care of by Shriners Hospital of Philadelphia. We also know on board with that pediatric patient was the mother of that child. Those two, the mother and the child, were being transported back to their home country of Mexico. That was the ultimate destination. Maybe Missouri was going to be a part of their journey as they make their way down to Mexico. Shriners Children putting out a statement just in the last 25-30 minutes, and it reads in part that Shriners Children is heartbroken to confirm that one of our pediatric patients and the child's mother were aboard the jet rescue air ambulance that crashed in Philadelphia this evening. But because of patient privacy and concerns, they're not saying more about the patient's identity or the patient's family. That, of course, is understandable. But this lets us know that these families that were impacted by the crash are being notified, and next of kin is being notified of the crash tonight. Their statement goes on to say, our hearts and prayers go out to the families of the medical crew and pilots who were also lost in this tragic event.
We should also mention that there were other injuries on the ground tonight that we're getting confirmation about. Temple Jeans Hospital saying that it received 6 patients. 3, we've learned, have been released. 3 are said to be in fair condition tonight. And as we talk about this tragedy, let's talk about the distance of the airport. About 4 miles away from where it went down. We know this plane was in the air for about 30 seconds before it went down. So it was in the air a short amount of time. We know something horribly went wrong. Exactly what that was, we don't know, but we know investigators will begin their investigation, and it will take some time before we know that. Action News reporter Annie McCormick, she's been live for us at Northeast Philadelphia Airport, covering the situation there and talking to her sources. Annie, what are you hearing more about this breaking situation?
Yeah, well, Greg, we do know that that jet rescue air ambulance did take off from runway 24 here at Northeast Airport just after 6 o'clock and was only in the air for a very brief amount of time. The company saying that the crash happened at about 25 past 6. That is when the crash did occur, of course, with 6 people on board, including that young patient, the patient's mother, a patient of Shriner Hospital, and also the medic staff on board and the pilots as well. We can tell you that when we arrived here, we were able to see a number of federal investigators responding. Governor Shapiro did confirm that 4 investigators from the FAA and 4 from the NTSB were dispatched out here. We saw them load up. There seemed to be a meeting inside, and then they took off, presumably to go to the crash site. And there's a couple things that they're going to be looking at, as with any crash. They're going to be looking at weather conditions. Those in the aviation community have explained to me that these types of jets do have different instruments that are able to be used in weather conditions that might be a little bit rougher than a normal plane. It depends on the type of instruments, but because this is a medic jet, they have those instruments that rain may not be too much of a problem for them. They're going to be looking at a number of other things, including the transmissions. You heard the aviation expert talk about that. You also heard him talk about how he anticipated that the plane was supposed to make a left turn and it did not. They're going to be looking at the fuel. I'm told that already tonight, shortly after the crash occurred, assured that they were checking the fuel out here. One of the things they were checking is to see whether or not any water, maybe from the inclement weather, got into that fuel. That's one thing I'm told is protocol when this all happens. The other thing that many people are curious about is with the engine. Was this an engine failure situation? There is still so much to go through. Of course, officials on all levels are coming together tonight to work on this. Mayor Cherelle Parker said this a short time ago.
Let me start by thanking each of you for being here. I want to go through some basic facts about what we know for certain right now. An aircraft went down in the vicinity of Roosevelt Mall on Cottman Avenue. This occurred shortly after 6 p.m. this evening. As of right now, we have no reports on the number of fatalities. So right now we're just asking for prayers for any and everyone who may have been affected. We do want to note that several dwellings and vehicles were impacted. So what are we asking you to do for us right now, Philadelphia? We're urging you to please stay away from the scene. If you see debris, call 911. Don't touch anything. This is still an active scene under investigation. I'm proud to note that all of our federal and state partners, they are either en route here or on the ground with us right now. We did see some neighbors who live in the surrounding community. Just stay in your home. Again, it's still an active scene and it's under investigation. This is only the first of many briefings, I'm sure, to come on this evening. And of course, when daylight comes, when we have more facts and information to share with you. But I do want to say a special thank you right now, again, to all of our federal and state partners and our amazing first responders right here in the city of Philadelphia. Our fire, our EMS, our police department, they have been here working vigorously to ensure that we get this perimeter and the surrounding area blocked off to ensure that we make public safety and health our #1 priority. So we don't have any further information to share at this time. I've spoken to our Governor Josh Shapiro. He is en route. I've spoken to our U.S. Senator John Fetterman, other federal officials, and everyone, all hands on deck. That's where we are right now. Thank you so very much, and we'll have more information to report in the near future.
Now, in talking just about the federal investigation, this is going to be a huge undertaking for those investigators. Just to give you some perspective, if there is a crashes we've covered in the past that happen in more of a rural area, they have that area where there's not a lot else going on there. So in a way, the crash scene is a little bit more contained. But when you have it at Cottman and the Boulevard with residences and the mall, it is such a wide breadth of area that they're going to have to collect all of that debris. Of course, the black box is something that they're already going to check, but to collect all of that debris, we've been told in the past by the NTSB investigators when we've been on these types of scenes before that they have to basically take everything, reconstruct it. So this is normally would take about 2 years for an entire investigation. So this will take a lengthy amount of time. For now, we're live at the Northeast Airport. Annie McCormick.
Okay, Annie, thanks for your reporting throughout this evening and all of the updates you've brought us in regards to the FAA and the NTSB and their work that's cut out for them.
Yeah, we are continuing to hear about the injuries and the fatalities tonight. So far, we know 6 individuals have lost their lives. They were all on that Lear jet 55 that went down there in Northeast Philadelphia. We heard 4 crew members were on this particular plane, a pediatric patient and her mother. They were patients with Shriners. Shriners releasing a statement talking about their heartbreak tonight. So devastating. We also know that Temple Jeans Hospital received 6 patients, 3 released, 3 said to be in fair condition tonight. Presumably that number will go up throughout the night. We also heard from the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia saying that none of its patients were on board that plane and the flight was not affiliated with its hospital. So that good news for the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia tonight.
We want to go now to Action News reporter Brianna Smith, who has been reporting from near the scene there, which of course a large perimeter. So let's check in now with Brianna Smith and the latest from there. Brianna.
Yeah, Shari and Gray, first responders and agencies have been here for hours now, from the local to the state to the federal level, working hard to investigate the area. But it feels much calmer and quieter compared to when we first arrived here on scene. Before, this area was just covered with witnesses and bystanders taking video, remaining in disbelief at what they were seeing unfold. And we spoke to some of those witnesses who say they saw that explosion that lit up the sky, and they just said it was unbelievable. And their hearts go out to the family and friends who are impacted by this situation. And again, you can see it's still very much an active scene here, and you see the flashing lights, the police officers that span blocks at this scene. We also spoke to Governor Josh Shapiro. He was here tonight, and this is what he had to say.
We have 25 members of our PennDOT team who are here right now. We have members of the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Authority who are here, including our director, Randy Padfield, who joins me behind here. We also have members of DEP, the Department of Environmental Protection, who are here to make sure that any hazardous materials are addressed. And as you heard the mayor reference, we're joined by several state representatives and senators. I want to thank them. They will make sure that whatever is needed for this community gets to this community. I also spoke earlier this evening with the United States Secretary of Transportation, Secretary Duffy.
About this being a unified response to this aviation disaster. I think he put that in a really great way, talking about how many agencies are coming together to piece together what happened here tonight. And of course, our thoughts and prayers go out to those who are affected. Again, we spoke to those witnesses who saw this all unfold, and then you think about the family members and those impacted, those who lost their lives. And this is just the beginning of this investigation. This is going to take a while to figure out what happened here, and of course we will keep you updated as we learn more. Shari and Gray.
Okay, Brianna, thank you for your reporting and your perspective tonight on this tragedy in the city of Philadelphia tonight. As we continue to monitor this breaking news situation, of course the videos continue to come in, and just looking at these videos, just unbelievable that this happened in our community, in our neighborhood, and so many people, of course, tonight impacted by this. That plane in the air for about 30 seconds we're hearing before it made that what appeared to be a nosedive right there in Northeast Philadelphia along Cottman Avenue, Roosevelt Boulevard. We know homes were on fire, buildings were on fire, cars were on fire, and sadly people walking the street were on fire.
Yeah, this incident cannot be lost on us.
No.
The humanity and knowing really what's happening in these moments where this plane wasn't able to keep its lift and to stay afloat. And the videos that are coming in that really tell the story. Seeing the explosion, seeing the people react in awe, shocked by what happened, wanting to know more of what was going on. It really just tells the story of those families. We can't begin to imagine, for those who are learning tonight, that their loved ones did not make it.
We want to switch now to Action News reporter Brianna Gallagher. She is live now at a shelter, and she's joined by...
This is Councilmember Anthony Phillips joining Brianna, and I'm sure he has a lot to say, Brianna, and sharing with you on reaction to this incident.
Yes, Gray, Shari. As first responders and officials are still on scene, volunteers are making their way here to Samuel Fells High School. And this is where officials are telling people to come. If you need shelter, you can't get into your home, this is where you should come. And I'm joined, by Councilmember right now. Why are you out here tonight?
Yeah, I'm out here because a lot of our residents have been impacted. I represent this lower northeast part of the district, and this is our high school. And I wanted to make sure that the residents that are here know that, we're here for them. Honestly, this is a communities coming together. As I was walking into the shelter tonight, I had noticed 3 residents bringing water and other supplies to make sure that those who were affected by the tragedy felt good. And also when I was in there, I was listening to a resident tell me her story. She was literally 5 doors down from the tragedy. watching TV, doing work, eating food, and she had stuff in her hands. And immediately when the plane struck, everything at her hands flew up in the air. Her dog ran down to the basement, and she went rushing after her dog to make sure he was safe. But the dog was petrified. When she's going to the basement, she noticed all of her front windows were out. So a lot of the residents that are coming here, can you imagine, their homes are full of debris, their windows are out, it's not even hospitable. So that whole neighborhood has been really impacted in a devastating way. So right now, we need love, we need prayers, we need support right here in our district. So if you want to come down to Samuel Fells High School, bring food, bring love, prayers, and also supplies for our residents right now. So.
I know. What do things look like in there? I know you said you just saw a handful of people, and I know we spoke a moment ago about that woman. You know, these stories that keep coming out, these people that were there when this happened, it's heartbreaking. It
is heartbreaking. It's quite devastating. What you see in there right now are people who are right now they're sitting down with blankets over them. They're being comforted by Red Cross workers, because Red Cross workers also have mental health support services that they're giving them as well. And they're showing them love, and they're getting water, they're getting food that's might needed. They're also being evaluated for any medical issues that they may be going through as well. But this is going to be a long process, and what I know for sure is that the city is going to have their back in terms of rebuilding their homes that have been impacted, but also the mental health support that they're going to need as well, because your home is never going to feel the same, after a tragedy like that. And you got to find a way to get back into the home, back into the groove of things. I mean, this has been a gut-wrenching week for me, honestly, and I can only imagine it's a gut-wrenching week for the rest of the city of Philadelphia as well, especially for these residents who are just being really impacted. So, yeah.
I know we heard Mayor Shaw Parker and Governor Josh Shapiro stress that this is a unified effort. No stone will be left unturned, and people are going to be coming together to help those that are impacted.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, we're in our office, we're trying to figure out ways to make sure we get the word out about 1-800 Red Cross and other support services that could be there, whether that be mental health or financial services that people are going to need at this moment. But we also, on the city council side, we clearly now understand that there is something going on in the aviation across the nation, and we're trying to think about, as council members, what's next. So, how can we find ways to make sure aviation is strong in our nation, because that's supposed to be one of the safest places to be on, and it doesn't feel that way right now, and people are feeling this gut wrench in their hearts and their throats right now. It's terrible. All we need is God. We really need God to see us through this one, and I know people are praying for us.
Thank you, Councilman Phillips, for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And if you do have any volunteers, anything that you can donate, you can bring them on down here to the high school. We're going to send it back to you guys. Shari, Gray.
Well, we're thankful to Council Member Phillips for joining us and sharing his perspective of what's happening to the residents, our neighbors in the Northeast tonight.
And as we continue our breaking news coverage of this crash here in Northeast Philadelphia, I believe now we have some sound from the tower as this Learjet 55 came down in Northeast Philadelphia. Let's listen.
Digit 755. We have a lost aircraft. We're not exactly sure what happened, so we're trying to figure it out. For now, the field is going to be closed, so no inbounds or outbounds probably. 609 Foxtrot. I'm sure you copied that, but for right now, we're gonna call the field closed. We'll try to get you out there when we can. If we can't, we'll have to take you over to Atlantic. But stand by for now.
So we'll have to get more information as to the context of the exchange that was happening there. That is a piece of the audio from the control tower in relation to the time frame of when the Learjet 55 was set to depart from the airport in Northeast Philadelphia. We'll work to get more context as to what the conversation was about, but that is the audio that we have, as we're still, of course, for the first time playing that on the air here during our coverage. We will continue to decipher from that